Warning: Title 17 U.S. Code 512F provides penalties for the deliberate misrepresentation of copyright infringement. The owners and authors of this video, the common denominator, and the Paramystic Broadcast Channel are a nonprofit 501c3 exempt organization and believes in good faith that it constitutes educational fair use, as per Title 17 U.S.C. 107. Persons, agencies, attorneys, and/or social media algorithms filing a false or frivolous Digital Millennium Copyright Act complaint may be subject to civil liability. Warning: the following content may contain elements that are not suitable for some audiences. Accordingly, viewer discretion is advised.
Happy hump day, everyone. And I'm feeling so good. I am seriously feeling so good. I pledge my allegiance to the Constitution of the United States of America and to the republic for which the flag stands, one nation under Almighty God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. As always, if you're getting into it, you know I've got that quote for the day. And here it is. I'd like to share it with you now. The most serious failure of leadership is the failure to foresee. Understand this. The most serious failure of leadership is the failure to foresee. No, you're not a prophet. You're not a seer. You don't foresee because you don't have the aptitude for which to do so. I call it common sense. When you go into a situation, you have to quickly assess an emergency. And in doing so, you will respond, hopefully, accordingly to that situation. Again, be it an emergency or just any situation or circumstance. And you have to have something up here in your toolbox. This is a toolbox, the brain. And to me, and the more I've learned, the more I accumulated knowledge, not only the better I feel, but the better I feel prepared for what's going to happen. So I wanted to give a public service update and announcement. And here you go. 6 warrants issued for James Eric Jimmy the Potts failure to appear in Clinton County Court. He's accepting donations. Now, I wanted to add a little bit of extra flavor to this, folks. So, you can't help but when you give a public service announcement and you've got something that you have to let people know, you definitely want to make sure you're giving the truth. This is my receipt. That's his warrant for his arrest. And I can't make this up. Okay. He's got several of them. Okay. It's on record. But what I really wanted to show last week, I didn't have the opportunity, is we have to put a face to this guy. So here you go, folks. That, my friend, is Jimmy Potts. So all the loony left wing nuts of Cameron, who have always bowed down and obeyed and taken all this journalist, if that's what you want to call him, I call him a fairy tale editor. You want to take his, what do you call it? Word to truth. There was never any truth with him, except he definitely was an idiot, a moron, and a buffoon, and very biased. He wouldn't give us the truthful information along the way. I feel bad. I feel bad for a person like that. But on the flip side, again, I'm bringing some current news of my community. On the flip side, after 7 months of the squeaky wheel, that would be me, 7 to 9 months, I'm sorry, Lake Viking finally used common sense. I'm going to say estimate at most $30 to $50 expense to save an innocent life or lives. Congratulations to public service and safety offered and extended here in our township, in our community. Now, what am I exactly trying to allude to? Well, I have had a problem with this little intersection. You see that turn? There's a stop sign there now. And now people have to stop so they can see the traffic coming. People on bicycles, on their little four-wheeler ATVs, whatever. And I was so glad to see this because I actually came around that curve earlier this year, or back then, way back when, in September, when there were still leaves on the trees like this. And they were changing, they were falling. But just the same, a guy in safety drove right through, because there was no posting there, drove right through that intersection, making a right-hand turn with his cell phone to his ear. So he never even went like this to look. And I could have creamed him. I would have felt bad doing so. But as they say, you got to do the right thing. So, of course, I beat my horn and went around him, unknown to him that I was even there. And, of course, the end result was he did not get an infraction. He got a butt chewing, supposedly, because the director of safety, Jason McFeeney, and I love Jason. I really do. I appreciate Jason greatly. He told me that they had a good discussion, but only residents get infractions here. Notice what I just said. He, quote, only residents get infractions, not the employees or staff members. There's a little bit of a problem, in my opinion, because I think equal responsibility should be shared by all. How to adjust that for a moment. There we go. I feel better there. Equal responsibility and accountability should be shared by all. So, I got to thinking, what do I want to talk about today? Well, this is basically any of us who feel like this. I want you to look at this. You're there alone. See me, that's actually you as well. But you would rather sit alone in truth instead of agreeing just to fit in. And we use this example here of the school board because all the parents, all the teachers, all the idiots that are running this circus clown show in Cameron School District on the school board, and that starts with the leader at the top, Matt Robinson, superintendent. I can't make this shit up. That's going to be the name of my book. Matt Robinson got a raise approximately almost, I'd say, 10 months ago. And believe it or not, failing grades every year progressively, the GPA has gone down. I just watched a situation on the news today where they said, I believe it was Chicago, Illinois, 32 schools were placed into a survey. Not one of those 32 schools had students of the grade that they were in reading proficiently at that grade level. And 1 out of every 5 students could not do math at all. So who does that fall on? Does that fall on the teachers, the parents, the school board administration? Who does that fall on? Personally, I think it falls on everyone's shoulders. Everyone's shoulders. So with that being said, you're looking at kids now that are just stupid. Yes, I said that. They're not ignorant. They had the opportunity to not be dweebs, to not be worthless people in our quote unquote society today. And I'll give you, I'm going to step back for a moment because it's on my mind right at the second. You know, I'm looking at what's happening on college campuses nationwide. All of these young people that have been indoctrinated, that believe that Hamas is a good group, that America should fall to Hamas ideologies. They want to push the terrorist thoughts in our nation. And Biden, believe it or not, just paid off student loans for people who got art degrees. I guess he supports his son completely. And we all know how worthless Hunter is and what a criminal he is. And we're paying off these degrees. Now, in this case, again, just little art, you know, people that sketch and paint and make clay pottery stuff, whatever, in the arts institutes. Why are we paying for it? Why are tax-paying dollars being paid for people's hobbies? Because that is what it is. It's a hobby. Yes, you do want to go into the real world and paint something, draw something, whatever, etch something, create something, and you want to be famous for it. I get it. But it's a hobby. It's not a real skill. It's not a craft. It's not a trade. It's not like you can walk into someone's house and say, wow, you've got a plumbing problem. Let me get on it for you. It's not like you can walk into an engineering firm for the airplanes and say, you know, maybe we could just paint a picture of a door on the inside cabin, but not let's have a real door there. I'm making a joke out of this, by the way, or trying to. So we are all very guilty. I'm sorry, let me rephrase that. I know I'm not, but the vast majority of people are very guilty about today's venting that I've got going on, which is speaking about the silence, speaking silence. We all know where we're at. We all know how horrible this country has become. I notice I've got a couple comments, so let me go up there and have a pick real quick. Hey, Ruth. Yes, Ruth. A bunch of backstabbing, bullshitting, nonstop bullshit people. You are absolutely correct. It's sad, but it's very true. We've got some horrible things going on. So I decided to add a few things differently on this program. And why? Because every now and then I come up with what I call these little nuggets of thought. So let's start with the first one. What is premeditated ignorance? Premeditated ignorance is the quality or condition of deliberate unawareness. It is when people do not know because they do not want to know. 4, if they did know, they would have to take responsibility for the knowledge, and they would thereby be required to renegotiate their identity and to relinquish the status, privilege, and authority that are derived from the false order of knowledge. At the very least, they would be compelled to leave their comfort zone. Going back to Lake Viking board of directors, the people of the HOA that I didn't elect them, but that got elected in these positions, working with the maintenance crew, it took 7 to 9 months to hang up one stop sign. Now, I've lived out here for 4 years. How come I never noticed it? I went into the maintenance area maybe 2 or 3 times, but I never really paid attention, I guess. But when I started taking my trash there regularly, when I almost ran into that fella back in September, I said, whoa, we got to put a stop to the insanity of no common sense. Put a stop sign there. And it was finally done. They'll have more appreciative words coming their way for having done so, if just but by me. But they may hear it from a few other people, because we have to protect our residents here. We don't want them getting ran over on bicycles or ATVs getting hit by a dump truck leaving, because there's no stop sign. Dump truck can just make a wide turn and boom, hit someone, kill them. So again, many thanks to it. But that's, again, looking at this, premeditated ignorance is the quality or condition of deliberate unawareness. So how do we deal with people like that we know that are ignorant? I myself, I'm going to use this as an example. All of these students that are blockading themselves in buildings, taking and destroying, by the way, property, college property, all of these people, every last one of them, I say, instead of paying off their student debts, ship them, each and every one of them that want to, quote unquote, say death to Americans, death to America, death to Jews. I say, and they want to call themselves Hamas supporters, I say, let's get them a one-way ticket over there. Hamas would love to increase their army, so let's send them over to the Gaza Strip. Seriously. Let's stop playing games, folks. These people that are crossing the border, they are invading our country. It is an intentional invasion. These are illegal immigrants that are aliens. They know not the laws of our land or our culture. And the worst part about it is they are criminals. And until we decide that we are going to get these criminals out of here, and I can say to you right now, Our country has been disrupted in the last 4 years, and these, again, are facts. You can't get rid of it. In 2020, over almost 500,000 people came. 2021, it went to 1.7 plus. 2022, 2.3, almost 2020, like 2,400. Here, it's almost 22.5 million. Not 2,400, but million. And so far this year, and we're not even done yet. So far this year, we've had over 13 million people cross. And these are the known. These are the known encounters. So, anyone want to take a guess on how many people have crossed that got over illegally? The murderers, the rapists, the drugs, the cartel people, the human smugglers, the robbers, the assaulters. Do you know how many? We can't count. Well over 3 million, I'd say, at this time. I know people say, Vince, where do you get your statistics? Well, I'm just reflecting on all the news over the past 3-4 years. And each year, it's like 1 million got away, 600,000 got away, 800,000. You add those numbers up, it's probably closer to 3 million. I didn't get to take a picture to show you, but there was an illegal immigrant, criminal, who raped and assaulted an 11-year-old girl last Thursday in Florida. Drug her into a van. They did catch him. They know who he is. And believe it or not, they let that rapist back on the streets. Let me rephrase that. The judge of that court, of this particular case, of this particular piece of garbage, the judge let him back out on the streets. And you want to know the funny part about it is, if you want to call it funny, he will show up and appear in court in 2027. 2027. Personally, and this is where it's spoken silence, you know he raped an 11-year-old girl. You know he took her innocence. You know he did something that was completely heinous. And he's old enough to know better. He's old enough to know better. He's in his 18s. He's in his teens, early 20s. Old enough to know better. You know what I say? The spoken silence. Execute them. Get rid of them. And get rid of them now. Don't wait till 2027 to maybe deal with them, because he's going to come back to court, I'm sure. He's going to be there, Your Honor. And you know what, Your Honor? You are conspiring with a criminal. You are taking that criminal side over the safety of society. You should be removed from the bench. Personally, I like to see you get stoned. And I ain't talking about sitting down and smoking a joint with you. I know what I'm talking about. And you should be stoned. Doing that is just wrong. All right. I think I've got a little help here. The Godfather is in. Thanks there. Don Corleone, thank you. Gosh, it's so hard to go with all your alias or all your name and aliases. It's tough living in this world of ours. Yeah, we've been playing tag all day. But getting back to this, we're looking at people who need to start speaking out, who need to start talking about what's going on. They need to start spreading this word, whatever it may be, if it's bullying in school. Here you go for news. Just remember this one. So we've got the Boy Scouts of America, which, by the way, I pride myself having been in the Boy Scouts. And when I am in a courtroom, and if I must take the stand to speak, to testify, whatever it may be, address the courts, and they ask me to, quote unquote, Do you solemnly swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, so help you God, as you place your hand on the Bible and you put your hand on the Bible, you say, yes, I'm always standing there like this. Always. I stand there like this throughout the whole procedure until they say sit down. That would be a Boy Scout sign, a greeting to let you know, hey, we're one of the good guys. And now they're calling it Scouting America, Scout America. It's horrible. They're allowing all the genders, they say. They're going to allow all the genders to join the Boy Scouts and now calling it Scouting America, Scouts of America, American Scouts. It's just pitifully sinful. I want to throw it out of my head, but I can't. And I don't have it down right, but I believe it's Scout American or Scout America. But they want to allow all the genders in. This is, again, part of Marxism. This is communism. What these college students are doing is communist. It's socialist. It's Marxism, all rolled up in a ball. And these fools are taking the side of terrorists. So parents, be proud. Because I've been listening to a lot of news going back to the employment possibilities for these idiots that are caught on high resolution video now. They can cover their face, but their eyes, they can never. You can be told you can be picked out with your eyes alone. And eventually you're going to go with your degree in engineering and you're going to go to that company and you're going to submit your application for employment. And you're going to show them where you went to school, the whole 9 yards. They may ask you you went to Columbia? Were you there? Yeah, but I kind of stayed in the background. They are now paying $4,800 to $5,000 per applicant who's going to that company to get a very high-paying waged position of importance, mind you, of essential importance. And they can tell who you are. They can tell if you've been literally bad or good. So while you're standing there wearing your mask and your little Habib or whatever the hell they call those towels on their heads, whatever, rags, whatever, they can tell who you are. And when they find out that you've been burning an American flag, when they find out that you've been promoting terrorists, that you approve of and endorse terrorists, they're going to tell you thank you. And they're going to place you in a pile, which is basically 86, which is a trash pile. And they are not going to give you a job. Now, some people would say that's discrimination. Hey, let's use our common sense here. You have this guy coming into your company. He burnt the American flag. He's done everything, absolutely horrible actions. But we give him a pass because he's just a young kid with passion in college. Just a young kid with passion. Guess what? It's the wrong passion. It's called hatred. So let's just say I owned a large billion-dollar company, and I've got this clown coming in, and I do call them clowns. And I've realized 3 weeks later, we do the in-depth, and we do an investigation that he's been one of those. I'm going to say thank you, but I found someone more qualified. Have a good day. When in reality, I could have maybe hired him just the same. And let's just say I said to him, I know of your past, but I think you could be an invaluable asset to this company. And come to find out, if you ever watched Jurassic Park, Newman from Seinfeld played a very crafty role. He was a mole, more or less. And he was trying to steal basically all this information about DNA and how they came about bringing the dinosaurs back to Jurassic Island / Jurassic Park. And again, it's just a movie. But can you imagine getting a mole like that in your company? The devastation that one individual could do would be equivalent to perhaps, believe it or not, anyone who's watched a Bond movie could be of such evil to take over the world, to destroy the world. Right now, here goes some more spoken silence. Yes, we have all heard lately that Biden is giving, quote unquote, ammunition to Israel. But what they're not telling you is they're not giving Israel the very best most modern technology that could probably flatten this whole skirmish out. Yes, there are innocent people there that are, in this situation. The Palestinians, they are there and they don't want to be there. They don't want the Hamas there. But guess what? They're not fighting Hamas. They could care less. They care about their own little asses, in short. But they're not fighting Hamas. In fact, when you think about it, most of them probably voted and elected some of these leaders into positions so that now this is what we have to deal with. The world has to deal with. It's no longer a Middle East problem. We have terrorism right here in America. And I'm flat out telling you, I've been saying this for quite some time. It's going to get worse. Chad, I just love my friend Chad Candy of Truck It, Truck It, one of our sister podcast groups. Chad and I talked about this, and he's like, "Well, Vince, you've been saying that for years. There's going to be blood in the streets." Well, it's going to come now. We're right there. We are right there. If you do not have ways to protect yourself, other words, if you do not have self-defense mechanisms, they call them weapons, but weapons, I say, are in the hands of criminals. But if you don't have those same self-defense mechanisms, be it knives, guns, rifles, I don't care what it is, you may as well just kiss your sweet ass goodbye, because it's going to get that ugly in certain areas. If you don't have food to store up on, yeah, I know this is beginning to sound a little crazy. I'm beginning to probably sound like a conspiracy theorist, but I'm not. It's called being aware. It's called knowing your surroundings, 360. You get out of your car, you better look around to see who might be too close for comfort. When you're at that store, you may see that person 3, 4, 5 times at the far end of the aisle, seemingly following you. Get away. Start talking to other people. Get surrounded by people. Because that person may, for some weird, stupid idea, have you in their sights for something nefarious. I was told we just had a knife pulled out by a 70-year-old man, I think it was, homeless man, on a woman, I believe, in Walmart in Cameron, Missouri. And he wanted to rob her. She gave him, I believe, $5. They did pick him up, I was told, so on and so forth. But, you've got a patriot like myself, and I'm seeing a man with a knife, and he's obviously doing something wrong. I'm going to approach him. I'm going to have him drop the knife, and I'm going to wait for authorities. I'm going to ask him to lay down. I'm going to wait for authorities to get there, and I'm going to have him arrested for armed robbery, because that's exactly what it is. It's armed robbery. He has a knife to a woman wanting to steal from her. And we in society just want to bury our heads across the board in the sand. Trust me, there's not that much sand or dirt to bury our heads in, because we're losing our country. We're losing it on many different levels. But you're going to have to wake up. You're going to have to become socially aware, which now brings another piece that I read, and I thought, I want to share this. And why am I sharing again that one piece about what is premeditated ignorance? Well, this one here is how we balance that. And it's like this: emotion regulation is not about controlling what you feel. It's about choosing how you respond. Wise people don't suppress emotion. They find constructive ways to express it. Intense feelings don't always demand immediate reactions. They often benefit from deep reflection. I used to be told, go over, simmer down, think about what you want to do next. Because that person that's telling me to do that, be it a buddy, girlfriend, be it my mom, my dad, whoever, my brother, sister, whoever, they saw something in me for just a moment. And they said, take 5, breathe deep, exhale out your mouth. Think about this. Think about it. So we can be very compassionate, no doubt. And we can be very passionate, no doubt. But compassion for me only goes so far. I'm going to put a banner up here. I'm going to let you know. I had the wonderful, wonderful opportunity Monday to drive up to Des Moines, Iowa, where that's where the state capital is, in Iowa, Des Moines, state capital. Also down in Jefferson City, Missouri, state capital. 2 different states, 2 different capitals. Don't want to confuse anyone. I was actually up in Des Moines. But both of those capitals, you can actually walk in to the Capitol with a holstered, concealed self-defense mechanism. And the only people in the Capitol that are allowed to openly display or in their hand display a gun is, of course, the security / police / staff members of the LEA within those buildings. They're the only ones that should have a gun in their hands. And if a bad guy pulls one out, we know how to get to the bad guy. We know who he is. He's not wearing a blue outfit with a badge or anything. No, we know he's a bad guy, or she is. Yes, it could be a he or a she. I just said that. Anymore, we've got people that want to think outside the box and think they are something other than being inside the box. But while I was up in Des Moines, we went to serve a criminal. We couldn't find a criminal. They were there for about 2 hours while I was there waiting for Tonaway Downing, by the way. That's what this is about on the bottom of the screen. Please look it up. If you can offer any kind of donations, it would be greatly accepted. But Tonaway Downing is an attorney, and he is serving the criminals. And you start with the leader. In this case, you can give this document and serve it to a highway patrolman, and there are specific detailed instructions to get this to the Attorney General of the state, because that's where the executive power actually starts. Governor as well, but really AG in charge of all the cops, so on and so forth. And I'm going to be lucky enough when he comes through to join him in Jefferson City. And I have a case, ironclad, of the deprivation of my rights by Deputy Lori Parker and Sheriff Larry Adams. Lori and Larry, what a cute little couple they would make. Idiots they are. Deprivation of my constitutional rights. And I get to have my case presented to the AG. And by the way, yeah, in my case, I even have an opportunity to go directly after the Attorney General's office for what they've done, which is back up and support the Missouri Bar, which the Missouri Bar told me it is okay for an attorney to put my address, date of birth, social security number, driver's license number, telephone number on the internet. It's okay to do that. By the way, showing my affidavit of arrest. This was, by the way, a trial by affidavit when I went through. It's trial by affidavit, not by witnesses and facts and victims. An opinion of an officer who's abusing their power under qualified and sovereign immunity. And I'm going to tell you something. It's a scary spot to be in when they want you so bad. In my case, they wanted me so bad, they wanted to put me in prison for 4 years. $10,000 fine. I would have lost everything with a sexual harassment charge. And you want to know the other thing they did? They took my DNA. I was charged with a felony, but they took my DNA and put it into the database here in Missouri. I did not want that. They told me either I give it or I spend the rest of my time in jail until this goes to court. Now, they also offered me a plea bargain. I told them to take that and stick it right up there, well, where the sun don't shine, for disorderly conduct or public nuisance. And that's the problem with people who are innocent. They just want to go on with their lives sometimes so bad they say, you know what, I don't have time. Let me plea bargain. At least it's just a misdemeanor, and I could go on my life and I could still carry my sidearm. Guess what? I told the courts, I told the prosecuting attorney, I went like this to them. Do you see that? Yeah, that's what I did. I said, there ain't no way at all that I'm going to plead guilty to anything. I did nothing wrong. This gentleman will be speaking and addressing the Supreme Court in the first week or two of June. He has 3 seats available, 3, for which people can join and be there. I have thrown my name into the hat, and as far as I know right now, I'm 99.9% sure for the first time in my life, I am going to have the opportunity, I believe, to sit side by side, sit behind him, wherever, with the Supreme Court justices of the United States of America. I have never met anyone or known anyone that has ever been in a session of the Supreme Court justices, and I'm going to have that opportunity. So I'm going to let you know, if it's going to be possible, we may even have a live stream video going as Tonaway Downing, Mr. Downing, will be addressing the courts. Questions may be asked, and I'm hoping to get it all seen, because we need to stop these corrupt law enforcement agents like Sheriff Larry, I call him the Stooge, Adams, and Lorianne, Fiona, after the ogre, Parker. We need these people removed. By the way, if things go the way they should go constitutionally, the post-certification of those officers will be revoked. They will most likely, hopefully, get jail time. I don't believe either one of them are suited to even consider working for a security company. I don't think they've got it. I don't think they've got the mental aptitude to do that, nor be a greeter at the Walmart stores. But both of these guys, believe it or not, with what they've done to me, the Constitution actually says the penalty for a law enforcement agent as such to do what they've done, believe it or not, is death. That's right, execution for what they've done. Am I upset with that thought? I have to tell you right now, 0 upset. Not at all. If they both were to be executed for what they did to me, I'd give it a thumbs up, just like a Caesar would. I would. What they've done is heinous. It's wrong. Let's look up here. The greetings amongst the clans. I love it. I love it. I really wish sometimes you guys would give me some ideas and let's say, hey, let's talk about these things. But we don't have that luxury sometimes, obviously. But when you really get down to it, it's the spoken it's a spoken words of silence. Get it? Spoken words of silence. No one's talking about it. And the few that are afraid that they're going to be censored. Last night, I happened to be watching Truck It, again, one of our sister podcast um, um, shows. And near about an hour and 25 minutes, the feed went dead. I couldn't find them anymore. I thought, well, technical difficulty somewhere. I didn't know. And I continued about my night. Today, I opened up my emails, and there's like 6 of them from Warner Brothers saying that we had copyright infringements placed on that show, henceforth why it was taken down. And yet, those songs, notice we're talking about just music, but those songs, and granted the artists deserve some type of tithing, be kind of like a tip if you listen to them in a bar playing the guitar. They, they deserve that tithing. But with the resources that we use for a lot of our projects here, as far as our intros and outros and so on and so forth, banners in the background, the flag back there waving, for instance, comes from Canva, which is a media company that instructs and teaches us how to use their material offered, like in this case, music as well, besides background props and all that stuff. And believe it or not, they do have the rights to it. Those 2 songs. Try that in Small Town. And the other one, I can't remember it, but they were both in the beginning of the program. And it's sad. Even music. And we're protected. We got this. They'll put that show back up, but they want to censor. I'm going to give you another little idea about censorship. Remember when I told you about the editor, Jimmy Potts, disgraced editor, now gone. He's famous. He left town. He left Dodge. He left Cameron, never to be seen again, I'm sure. And then again, I don't know of anyone that will want him to come over for dinner or breakfast or anything, but that's here or there. But we have a lot of media there in Cameron. You've got the Citizens Observer, which I call a ragbag because of him. You've got this new publisher coming in. I'm not too sure about him. Jamie Honeycutt of I believe it's called Leadership Paper or whatever. Personally, I spent some time with him. Things were good, but I'm not so sure. He and I can't have any more conversation. We spent an hour and a half in a bar. I thought things were relatively good. But obviously, again, I'm not everyone's cup of tea, and I don't give a rat's ass. If I'm not your cup of tea, I'm okay. Guess what? Chances are you're not mine either. I'll figure out a way of liking you if I must. I'll try if I must. But chances are I'm not going to try that hard whatsoever. But you've got the radio station in Cameron. Christopher Ward, the manager, the administrator, whatever you want to call that joker, that bozo, that clown. Oh, he's got great radio ratings, live ratings, blah, blah. People love him, blah. Another Jimmy Potts. People love him. People love him. No, I don't love him. I don't even like him. I met him once, and he's a Nazi. He is one of those that wants to suppress freedom of speech. He did not want to let or inform. This radio station did not want to let or inform the people of Cameron, Missouri, of all the ill doings of the school board. And that's sad. And believe me, the pile is getting bigger and bigger and bigger when it comes to everything that the school board is doing to our children, to our parents, to our community. Because everything, I'm sure you've heard it, everything rolls downhill. It does. But you've got certain social media sites out here where I live. Lake Viking page, official page. The Gallatin News Group and Events Group. Gallatin Community News and Events Group. That administrator. You've got Cameron Community Forum with Frigate Forsyth. Sorry, sir. John Frigate, who's the admin there. And then you've got Cameron. Then you have Cameron. I don't know what just happened here. Then you've got the Cameron Community Forum. And believe it or not, I'm not allowed to speak on any of those platforms. And you want to know why? Because I'm a big mouth. Because I'm speaking the truth. Because I'm exposing evil. Because I'm letting people know about a Superintendent Matt Robinson that should be fired and criminally held accountable for what he has allowed to happen for the past 12, 13 years in Cameron and bringing pornography to the hands and distributing it to minors. It's against law. And he's one of other people involved. Tanya Boyles being another one, the librarian. Let's go one step further. Sheriff Fish of Clayton County spoke to the prosecuting attorney saying, and I'm just going with I'm going with third hand, I guess is the best way to say it. He spoke to her and Brandy McClain said, nope, she will not persecute the librarian. She will not press charges against the librarian who has obviously, or Matt Robinson, they both have obviously violated Missouri statutes regarding distributing pornography to minors. And she's not going to do anything about it either. They're all in a bed together. Dean Van Schoik, believe it or not. Dean Van Schoik is our representative in this area. I have personally reached out to him, asking him to be in a leadership position of and start doing something about what's going on in the Cameron School District. And by the way, folks, I live in the state of Missouri, which means I pay Missouri taxes, state taxes, which means my tax money goes to Cameron School District, which means I, as a concerned parent, yes, I call myself a parent now, believe it or not, a concerned citizen, I am not allowed to go to the Cameron school boards and speak to them. That's suppressing my freedom of speech. And who has the power to make that happen? Once again, yours truly, the tyrant in charge, His Excellency, Matt Robinson. And I've got to tell you, that pisses me the f off. And I mean, it pisses me the f off in a big way. I'm very concerned. I had a good friend of mine today. He usually sends me all kinds of texts, good jokes. And I'm going to be closing, by the way, on a positive note here. And he turned around and he said to me, he said, the other day I was driving by and I pulled up to a red light fence. And next to me is this little greasy dirtball, scrawny, vegan-looking, pale-faced dweeb. Yeah, this is a 70-year-old man telling me that this kid is a dweeb. You want to know why? He had Free Gaza sticker on his car. Free Gaza. 18, 19, 20-year-old dumb shit. That's what they are. They're dumb shits. They don't know what's going on. They have no clue. They support terrorists because it's a cool thing to do. Well, guess what? It's not the cool thing to do. I had the opportunity yesterday, by the way, folks, to go on WO Entertainment and sit down and speak with Richie King and several of his friends. And we had a very good, and I had an opportunity to express what I'm working on, what I'm doing, because he wants to get the message out. So I'm going to leave this on a good note. Coming up this weekend, there's a comedy show, and they're raising money for the prevention of veteran suicides. May the 11th, 2024, doors open at 5:30 p.m. It's a doubleheader comedy show, $15 a person at the door. And it's located at 708 South Broadway Street, Jamesport, Missouri. And you'll be able to listen to some wonderful, wonderful comedians. But you know, it goes back to what I was saying earlier. Richie King, by the way, if you're not realizing, he's a fellow in the orange shirt. You gotta watch WO Entertainment. Very good program. Very good. I enjoy these guys. I mean, they're just wanting to have fun. They want to laugh. They want to laugh at people, because a lot of these TikTok videos, they're putting up there, people saying, notice me, notice me, notice me, because they want to be known as jackasses and dumbasses and idiots and morons and goofballs, because they want to be, at one time, I guess, they want someday to be an influencer of power. They want to make that big money on the internet, I guess. I don't know. I can't see harming myself to, to make money on the internet. I can't see doing it. But, really, in talking with Richie and talking with Mr. Allen and talking with J-Dub, I think it's J-Dub or Jeremy, the one thing we can't give up on is hope. We can't. And with veteran suicides, I don't give a rat's ass what people think or not think. But the bottom line is, when a man or a woman who's willing to give up their life for your freedoms and liberties, to say that you are a terrorist, to allow you to say you support Hamas, a terrorist group, you know what? We need humor. Because people like that should be shipped over again to the Gaza Strip. All of these students, there's only a couple thousand of them nationwide. They should all just go into an airplane, and Biden should drop them off. And if they have their little multicolored hair and all these body piercings all over their face, I mean, everything everywhere, and the tattoos everywhere, and they want to say, hey, I'm a girl, when they know that they've got a penis, you know what? Hamas would welcome you with open arms. So those boys that think they're girls and those girls that think they're boys, Hamas will have you come over there in a blink of an eye. And I guarantee you one thing, I've listened to it myself. I've got it recorded and saved. But the Hamas leadership, they will execute you if you're gay. So think about this, folks. All you little idiots out there that think you just want to come out and be different and you want to be a different gender, I'm telling you right now, you go over there, you won't last 5 minutes off that airplane. They will take care of you on the tarmac. And then they'll melt you down and turn you into fuel or a dinner or something. Folks, like I said, we only go around once in this world. And I'm going to hope that one of these days I'm going to be able to, seriously now, I'm going to be able to have another guest on soon. Don't know who it's going to be. I'm working on people. I've got people, we're scheduling things. But, I always find it interesting to meet new people, learn new things, find out a new ideology or thought process of. Because I know I'm not perfect. I know my rational thought is not everyone else's rational thought. I.e., example, the White House administration with Joe Biden, with DHS Secretary Mayorkas, with Christopher Wray, with Merrick Garland, the Vice President included, the whole staff of the White House, they literally have turned their back on the American citizens, on the American people, and by the Constitution, technically that's treason, and by the punishment by treason is, of course, to be executed. So since I can't write these things on Microsoft little comments when I'm listening to these horrible, evil people lying, I figure I'll just say it face to face. Let them know that's how I feel. You people should be executed. And why do I say that? I'll tell you why. You take care of trash right away, other people aren't going to be thinking about being trashy people. They're going to start learning to be living right. Prayers. Many prayers go out to my president, Donald J. Trump. And yes, he is my president. He is still my president. And all I know is we've got to be like him, more like him. Folks, there's nothing wrong with being like Donald Trump. He's a man. Shoots from the hip. He says it the way it is. He doesn't threaten people. I know I'm not threatening people by saying they should be executed. I'm just giving you facts. And I'm okay with it. I have no problem with it. None. In fact, give me a coffee and donut. I'll kick the chair out from underneath their feet. Nancy Pelosi, Mitch McConnell, all of you clowns. And there are a bunch on both sides. They need to just go. And they need to go yesterday. So hopefully when things really get chaotic, and I mean it's going to get there, the DNC is going to be there, the Democratic National Campaigning Committee or whatever it is. They're going to be in Chicago in August. They're trying to clean up the streets from all the illegal criminal immigrants that we have, aliens that we have there that have invaded our country. Because they're a sanctuary city, we're giving the sanctuary cities exactly what they want. They wanted more money, they get money, and now they've got the problem and they can't deal with it. But they're trying to clean it up for old Joe when he comes into town. I can tell you something right now. No matter how hard you try to whitewash and clean up Chicago, it's still a shithole sanctuary city. Watch your communities, folks. Get involved. And make sure that your community is not turning into one of those sanctuary shitholes. This program I put on today, first time I've just let loose a couple good curse words. If it offended you, oh, well, I can't help it. I'm being honest. Trying a new flavor here for the day. I have to vent. I have to let it out sometimes. So you got a little bit of the raw in me. Thank you for your time. Pass this on, share it, do whatever you can to make a change in this world, in this country. Because we need people. We need people to step up now. Like I said, if I have the opportunity to sit in front of the Supreme Court with Tonaway, having served this country, having had the education I have, having had even the family I've had, has been a great, great, great life of opportunity for me. The work, the jobs I've had, the people I've met. But to have that opportunity, I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to hold it, relish it, and remember it forever. From the bottom of my heart, I thank you for joining me. You take care of yourselves and know that we're just in it together, but I'm hoping that we will be in it to win it. God bless all of you. Love you. Peace out.